Hello everyone. Welcome to this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News of the Berkshires and beyond. As the temperatures cool down, there is still much to do in Berkshire County. On this episode, I'll be talking about one of the most popular Berkshire County athletic events, mentioning local farmers markets, and concluding my 2024 Basketball Hall of Fame Spotlight. In addition, I'll be giving another update on Wehry Park, as much has changed since the last episode. First, it's time for this episode's trivia question. This episode's question is, what sculpture was the namesake of Chesterwood most famous for creating? Now, for this episode's local headlines. First, we'll be starting in the town of Great Barrington for the popular Josh Billings race. In order to understand the race, it's important to recognize who Josh Billings was. Josh Billings was the pen name of Henry Wheeler Shaw, who was born in Lanesboro, Massachusetts in 1888. His father, Henry Shaw, served in the Massachusetts State Senate for 25 years. Billings was a renowned humorist in his day, and better known and appreciated than his contemporary, Mark Twain. Commanding capacity crowds wherever he performed, he became widely known for his down-home philosophies, Yankee one-liners, and peculiar phonetic spelling. One of his wise sayings, "To finish is to win," is the motto of the race, and was one of the reasons the event was named for Josh Billings. The fun-loving, not too serious aspect of the race is perhaps why it has become one of the oldest and largest bike canoe run triathlons in the country, attracting elite and amateur athletes alike. The Josh is an event for all ages and abilities for participants and spectators. Now, for more information about the race itself. The bike leg is a 27-mile bike from Great Barrington to Stockbridge Bowl. The paddle leg is a 5-mile canoe or kayak race around Stockbridge Bowl. Finally, the run leg is a 6-mile run around the lake to Camp Mackinac. Afterwards, the bash at Camp Mackinac will be there with a live band, vendors, Josh Awards, and more. This event will be going on September 15th. Visit the website shown here for more information. On the last episode of WWHEN, I discussed how Wehry Park was undergoing a difficult 2024. Since my last story, there have been some positive changes to the situation. The consultants working with the city's efforts to rebuild the Wehry Park grandstand have the go-ahead to draw up architectural plans and construction documents for the $28.4 million project. The Parks Commission voted unanimously to endorse the project into full developmental design. According to an email sent to Mayor Peter Marchetti and Councilor Earl Pership, quote, S3 Design will continue to serve as lead architects and project managers. An EDM studio will provide local architectural support for regulatory review and code compliance, end quote. At the most recent Parks Committee meeting, Mayor Marchetti said it's important to move promptly on the project. In his words, quote, although there still are some unknowns of how we're going to close the gap in funding, I think it's imperative that we take the next step. We all know that the longer we wait, the more expensive it will be, end quote. James McGrath, the Wehry Park Restoration Project Manager, sent a 45-page memo to the public regarding future design plans, some of which will be shown on the next few graphics, the project scope, expected costs, and a building timeline. The timeline envisions bidding on the project in summer of 2025 and construction starting in the fall of that year. This means that the Pittsfield Suns might have to opt out for the season again, as I stated the last episode. WWHCN will continue to provide as much updates as possible on the ever-changing Wehry Park story. For our next stop, we will be going to Mass-MoCA in North Adams for a public program with photographer Mike Voss. Mike Voss is a photographer, visual artist, and musician from Portland. The new exhibit, Somewhere in Another Place, provides more than 3 years of work and countless miles traveled across the continent into 49 double exposure photographs, which represent nearly 100 distinct locations. He will be talking about what inspires him, both photographically and musically. This talk will be taking place on Saturday, October 26th at 2 p.m. Visit the website shown here for more information. It's now time for a farmer's market preview. They are always so popular in the fall. Let's start up north in North Adams. Their farmer's market runs through October 26th. It will be held Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at St. Elizabeth's parking lot near St. Anthony's Drive and Marshall Street. In Williamstown, their farmers market runs until October 6th. It will go on Sundays 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the base of Spring Street. In Lanesboro, The Berkshire Area Farmers Market will take place on Saturdays at the parking lot of the former Berkshire Mall from 8 to 2 p.m. until October 26th. In Pittsfield, theirs is located at the Common Park on 101st Street. It is the only farmers market in Berkshire County that is teen-run. It'll take place from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturdays. Please note that there will be other things going on simultaneously, such as concerts and more. Stay tuned to WWHCN for additional stories about these. These are just a few of the many farmers markets, however. For more information on Berkshire County farmers markets, visit the website shown here. Speaking of local farms, we're now going to be talking about Whitney's Farm and Garden Center in Cheshire. This is a popular spot for families to pick up fruits and vegetables for the fall and winter. My family and I loved going here when I was growing up. They are a third-generation farm started in 1940 when Charles Whitney operated as a dairy farm. His son Peter Whitney continued to run the dairy, but also grew sweet corn and other crops, which he sold from an old truck on the side of Route 8. The farm is still owned by the Whitney family today. At Whitney's Farmers Market and Garden Center, you'll find a complete selection of garden supplies and solutions for your everyday needs. Shopping comfort in the new greenhouse for colorful annuals, herbs, vegetable plants, hanging baskets, and the best selection of premium proven winter plant materials. According to their website, quote, discover the enduring beauty of perennials at Whitney's Farm and Garden Center, your premier destination in Cheshire County for perennial plants. Our perennial department is a treasure trove of robust, versatile plants that promise to bring your garden to life year after year. We pride ourselves on offering an extensive selection that caters to every gardener's needs, from sun-loving bloomers to shade-driving foliage, end quote. Whitney's Farmers Market and Garden Center is located on 1775 South State Road, Route 8 in Cheshire. It is open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Visit the website shown here for more information. Our next stop is to Cheshirewood in Stockbridge for a new exhibit titled Birth of a Shadow. Birth of a Shadow is the 2024 site-specific contemporary outdoor sculpture exhibition. Guest curated by gallerist Lauren Clark of Lauren Clark Fine Art and Childs and Clark Gallery. Clark has chosen 7 regional sculptors whose work serves as an evocative exploration of the intersection between light, space, and form, thoughtfully placed throughout Cheshire's woodland walks and grounds. This joint exhibition will be on view during Chesterwood's regular open hours, Wednesday through Monday, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. until September 22nd. Cheshire is located on 4 Williamsville Road in Stockbridge. Visit chesterwood.org for more information. Chesterwood also provides the answer to this episode's trivia question. As a reminder, this episode's question was, what sculptor was the namesake of Chesterwood most famous for creating? The answer is the Lincoln Memorial. Daniel Chester French, who built the memorial, was selected to build one shortly after Lincoln's passing. French had become good friends with architect Henry Bacon, who was commissioned to design the memorial. It took almost 40 years to build, and much of the construction took place in Stockbridge. Finally, in 1922, the Lincoln Memorial was dedicated in Washington, D.C. Up next, we will be doing an RT's Favorite Film segment. This episode, we will be discussing the film King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. The film is a revisiting of the famed King Arthur tale, directed by Guy Ritchie. It tells the story of how the legend of King Arthur began, and how he must defeat his evil uncle to retain the crown. So, why did I love this movie? It's more action-filled than the usual King Arthur film, and it has a lot of flashy scenes. Despite being set in the Middle Ages, it's actually not that confusing. That's because Ritchie uses a lot of storytelling techniques to keep the audience aware. If you're interested in Game of Thrones, but don't like the gore, this movie is very interesting. In fact, it shares several of the same actors. When the movie was released in 2017, it received bad reviews and it was a box office flop. However, I can't see why at all. This movie is a fun piece of mindless entertainment and is worthy of a second chance. It's time for the final 2024 Basketball Hall of Fame Spotlight segment. This episode will be focusing on 3 Hall of Famers. 2 of the Hall of Famers this episode are not well known, but are worthy of induction, while the 3rd Hall of Famer is no stranger to inductions, as this is his 3rd time being inducted. They are Charles Smith, Michelle Timms, and Jerry West. Out of this year's class, Charles Smith was by far the hardest to find information for. That is because Smith never coached or played professionally or in college. Instead, he is a high school coach at Peabody High School, located in Alexandria, Louisiana. While Smith might be the least known member of the 2024 class, Smith's credentials are unquestionably among the best ever among high school coaches. He has 1,208 career wins, currently 5th in national high school history, and his teams have won 9 state championships. He has won 85% of the games he's coached. He was named ESPN's National High School Coach of the Year in 2010, when his Warhorses went 41-0. Smith was named an honorary head coach in the 2021 McDonald's High School All-American game. The reason that this was honorary was because the game itself was canceled due to the pandemic. Smith also serves as a math teacher at the school. He joins Ernest Blood, Robert Hughes, Bob Hurley Sr., Bertha Teague, and Morgan Wooten as the only high school exclusive coaches inducted into the Hall of Fame. Our second Hall of Famer is Michelle Timms. Basketball is definitely a worldwide sport, and it is especially popular in Australia. Australia's first great female basketball player was Michelle Timms. Timms was a star player for the Women's National Basketball League in the 80s. This was an Australian league that started way before the WNBA in 1997. She won 5 WNBL championships throughout her career. She was also the first Australian, man or woman, invited to play in a European league. When the WNBA started, Timms joined the Phoenix Mercury. Her career in the WNBA wasn't as exciting, but she was named to the 1999 WNBA All-Star Game and was only the second player in WNBA history to have her number retired. She also served as an inspiration for many younger Australians, including fellow Hall of Famer Lauren Jackson. Timms also made 264 appearances for the Australian national team and competed in several Olympics. Today, she coaches in the very league that she began her career in. The last Hall of Famer being discussed is Jerry West. As stated at the beginning of this episode, Jerry West is no stranger to the Hall of Fame. For background, for the Basketball Hall of Fame, people can be inducted in multiple aspects of the game. West is one of the greatest NBA players ever. In fact, his very likeness is the NBA's logo, and is inducted for his career as a player and for being a part of the 1960 Olympic team. This induction, however, will only focus on what happened after he played. After West's retirement in 1974, he coached the Los Angeles Lakers, the team he spent his entire career with and did well. However, he felt more comfortable as a general manager. West helped build the Lakers' Showtime team, one of the most exciting teams of the 80s. Led by Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and fellow 2024 Hall of Famer Michael Cooper, the team won 5 championships and helped bring the NBA back to prosperity. After a slump in the 90s, West drafted Kobe Bryant and signed Shaquille O'Neal to help the Lakers win 3 championships in the 2000s, although West was only there for the first one. After that first championship, he left for the Memphis Grizzlies, where he turned that team around. The team had just moved from Vancouver to Memphis and was considered to be the worst team in the league. Under West's watch, Memphis became a dangerous playoff team. West joined the Golden State Warriors Board of Trustees in 2011, winning 2 rings with that team. Ironically, as an executive, West won more rings, 8, than he ever did as a player, 1. West passed away earlier this year, but he was aware of his 2024 Hall of Fame selection. This year's Hall of Famers showed the diversity of basketball. Players, coaches, executives, announcers, and those involved with the high school game made up this year's class, as shown by this graphic. The WWHEN Hall of Fame Spotlight will be a yearly segment, as researching the Hall of Famers was so much fun. And as a reminder, the induction date is October 12th and 13th. Please avoid Springfield if you can during this time. That ends this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News in the Berkshires and beyond. If you would like to watch this or any other WWHEN episode again, you can visit Pittsfield TV's and CTSB TV's websites shown here, or visit NBCTC's Facebook page. Also, if you would like to see the episodes in HD quality, make sure to check out my YouTube page at RT Wehry. Thank you.